Good afternoon. This is Ann Wolf, and I'm speaking to you from the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. I have a message today, and it's called Courage Under Fire, but Who is Firing? This goes out to our military, our first responders, and their families from a grateful heart. Recently, it's become popular in certain crowds to mock and to show disdain for our military and first responders. Some law enforcement are now being murdered on the job, having been tried and executed for what certain individuals or groups have deemed to be the crime of just being a cop or firefighter. Other deployed members of the military are being prosecuted for stepping in to defend civilians in war zones, or God forbid that they defend their own team members from hostiles in the heat of battle. In spite of much evidence to the contrary, these critics of our public servants evidently assume that their good intentions or their desire to sit down and chat and have tea with Mussolini, so to speak, should somehow be enough to outmaneuver those who wish to harm us. Meanwhile, none of us are spared from having to endure the irony arising out of these protests, since many of the very idealists who wage complaints also count on those with guns to protect and save them when the chips are down, if their area is under siege, or if they have to move through a danger zone, thereby needing law enforcement to escort them about our American cities. We've also heard reports of others who travel in armored cars with gun-packing agents surrounding them, protecting them so they can arrive safely to their destinations, where they stand up and make speeches about how our world will be safer once the populace has become disarmed. Would I prefer to live in a world where love is so strong that it overcomes evil? Where the lion has already laid down with the lamb, thus eliminating the need for protection? Absolutely. In spite of our good intentions and prayers, are we there yet? In our nation and world? No. There's no getting away from the reality that we share the planet with millions who have no regard for human life outside their own realm, their own culture. Hence, we have those in the military and law enforcement who are willing to be our shield. Meanwhile, one of the most amazing things of all is that the ones who serve do so impartially, regardless of this hypocrisy. When we say courage under fire, we now have to ask, who is firing? Every person facing a tour of duty knows that there are risks with their job, but today, extra prayers are needed to cover them as they face new dangers, whether military or first responder. Some of these dangers actually originate out of the circles of the very ones they are sent to serve. And as for our military, how can they do their job properly when they face prosecution for acts of valor? How tragic this is, and what a waste and misappropriation of energy to exercise hostility against those who stand in harm's way on our behalf. What influence could possibly be preying on those who have succumbed to such manipulation of thought, deed, or intention? I and millions of others pray for a time when the sacrifice of our military and law enforcement will no longer be needed. However, this is not the reality of the world we live in. And so to these who have our back and to their families, we owe you a debt of gratitude and respect that should be reflected in our actions, our support, our community service, and in the way we teach the value of our Constitution and Bill of Rights to our young, so they can discern the voices that would attempt to deceive and engage them in the destruction of their own legacy of freedom. We can scrutinize fairly our candidates and work to preserve our rights in the manner that we vote. We can choose who we listen to for our entertainment. And in offering our hand of fellowship to those who have our back, we can work in unity with one another. We can work in the development of our own character instead of seeking fault in others. We can get past petty differences and keep the big picture in mind. We can reflect on the timeless words of President John F. Kennedy when he said, quote, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country," unquote. God bless and keep you in his mercy and grace. God bless and keep America as America, the land of the free in the home of the brave. Until next time.